If you've ever asked yourself, why are rings used in marriages? Why does this symbolize love? Hold on. I know not everybody use rings, but you see, rings are one of the most universally accepted symbol of love, commitment, and
Oh,
steadfastness.
wow.
You see, wedding rings didn't start as romance, as many people would think today that if a man doesn't give me a ring, therefore he doesn't love me enough. It actually started with power, symbolism, and later control. You see, long before modern weddings, the ancient Egyptians used to use rings to represent eternity, which means a cycle has no beginning and no ending, just like how we have the sun and the moon, all representing eternity. You see this empty space right in the center? It symbolized the journey into the unknown. Some of the earlier versions of rings actually featured a serpent swallowing its own tail, which was also a visual metaphor for eternal return. So when Alexander the Great conquered Egypt, the Greeks also absorbed many of the customs of the Egypt, including the idea of giving rings as a symbol of devotion. And later, when the Romans conquered the Greeks, they also adopted that same culture, but they transformed it and made it evolve in their own time. In Roman society, rings became a part of marriage agreements. Early wedding rings were made of copper and iron, signifying durability and ownership. But over time, gold replaced the copper and the iron, turning rings into a visual display of wealth and social status. You see, during the medieval times, the quality of your ring or the stones used in making your ring signified many different things. For instance, rubies signified passion, sapphires represented the heavens, and diamonds stood for strength and permanence. It was that way until the 12th century when the church decided to formalize marriage as a holy sacrament. Then they made rings an official part of marriage ceremonies. So a new rule emerged that if a man should give a woman a ring,
Oh,
it meant that
wow.
he is going to marry her. Before then, giving a woman a ring was not an assurance of marriage. You could give a woman a ring and still decide not to marry her because it was just a sign of devotion. But when the church made it a holy sacrament, it became a promise of commitment, not just devotion. So it led to the concept of two rings, where the first ring was the promise of commitment to the lady, and then the second ring was the official ring taken to the church to actually formalize the union. For centuries, women wore two rings, but it was just a women's thing until during the Second World War, when American and European soldiers would go to war and carry their rings along with them. They held those rings as a way of remembering the loved ones, their wives or their sweethearts that they left at home. And this practice continued through different wars. And soon afterwards, civilians fell for it and turned it into a trend. That is how today men now wear wedding rings. But you see, it wasn't just about wedding rings, because later in the 1940s, engagement rings began to feature gemstones. And when economic hardship befell a lot of people, the sales of diamond rings dropped drastically because people could no longer afford them. So De Beers, one of the diamond giants that actually controlled majority of the diamonds in the world, had to come up with a brilliant marketing campaign, which till date is considered one of the most successful marketing campaigns ever launched in history. They came into collaboration with Hollywood, where actresses and influencers were given diamonds to wear in their movies or social gatherings. And soon afterwards, the slogan, "A diamond is forever," became a thing. And that was how slowly diamond rings became a symbol of love. De Beers succeeded in manipulating people to think that diamond is the biggest gift you can give to someone as a wedding ring. And that's how we have it today, that diamonds are not just precious stones. They're a proof of love,
Oh, wow.
worth, and status. Marriage rings did not just evolve or came from nowhere. They were shaped by a lot of things: empires, churches, wars, and marketing.